the source of light, the absolute, the unlimited, the infinite. I enjoy magnificence of God, the being of light. The light of God, bright and yet gentle, a light filled with love, but also a light that is strong, filled with might, with power. As God's light reaches me, I know that although I had forgotten and I had gone very far away, but God did not forget me. God's light makes me aware of God's love for I, the soul. God's light is the light of love. I absorb this within my own being. God's light awakens the latent memories that I had forgotten. As I awaken, I realize the eternal connection that I have with the Supreme. God's light extends into infinity, but yet with God's grace I'm able to see the source of the light, the infinitesimal, the being of light, the source who is a point, focus my attention totally on the infinitesimal point that I find myself being pulled deep into the infinitesimal source. I am filled with God's light and might. Om Shanti.
So it's lovely just to really make that time to connect. And the more often we create the space and opportunity to connect, the more we begin to find that eternal bond and relationship with the divine that we have awakening and becoming stronger and stronger. So before I continue, I'd like to give a bit of space. If anyone has any questions or comments or anything regarding the practice since Monday or even before that you would like to just get clarified before we move on. So a little space for that. So either unmute yourself and you can ask, or feel free to just write in the chat. Either way is fine, whatever you're comfortable with.
I wanted to find out, in terms of the meditation, how long should one take that time out for stillness and silence to connect?
Right. I always find that it's good to take that time out in the morning, first thing, and you build it up because it's a initial practice. You would tend to find that sometimes if it's too long, the mind tends to wander off. So you start off with 7 minutes to 12 minutes, work it up to about 20 minutes, up to half an hour, but build it up slowly, you know? So the main thing is that you have quality time for yourself. It's not so much the quantity of time, but the quality of time. So take some time out in the morning, first thing, and then in the evening as well, before you go to bed. It's a good idea to take some time then to meditate as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else would like to ask anything? All good? Okay. If anything does come up, please just feel free to put it in the chat and we can take it up at any time. Okay, great. So the next thing that I want to focus on, and that's really to make this connection with the divine deep and to build on this connection, to make it something that I can really relate to and connect with and relevant to my own life. So I want you to just firstly reflect on these questions. And these questions are really to help us realize that we perceive connection through relationship. So we're not in a room together. Otherwise, I would have loved you all to have this conversation in pairs. But just reflect on life is all about relationships. What 5 qualities do you feel are important in any relationship? So think about it. Just general relationships that I have, which 5 qualities are important in that relationship? And we would like to experience these qualities from others. But am I like this to myself? So example, I'd like people to be kind to me, but am I kind to myself? Do I support myself? Am I honest with myself? So first think of the 5 qualities that you think are most important, and then reflect back. How many of these qualities are you that to yourself? Do you treat yourself with that? And if you had a relationship that encompassed all these qualities, what would that relationship be like? So we're always looking for the perfect other. But what would that relationship be like? So just, I'd like to hear from you. What are the 5 qualities that you feel are important? Anybody would like to share? Again, you're welcome to unmute and share, or you're welcome to put it in the chat. Either way is fine.
I can share, sister.
Sure, great ahead.
Okay, so for me, it's honesty, open communication, respect, kindness, and integrity.
Okay. Great. And question is, how many of that do you feel you are with yourself like that? Because that's such an important aspect as well. How do I treat myself? Yeah. Okay, so there's been some nice input from the chat as well. Trust, love, respect, trust, kindness, and honesty, kindness, forgiveness. Yeah, beautiful. So we want that kind of sense of honesty, supportive, trust, kindness, compassion. Yeah. We want those qualities that sort of express a deep value for us as an individual, that express a deep acceptance of who we are, and that holds us in trust. That we know that, I always find that when there's that trust in the relationship, even though there may be challenges within the relationship, but when there's trust, you can always go beyond challenges, no matter what the difficult situation is. So trust plays such an important role, and building trust requires honesty and integrity and respect and all of that. So we define our world and love through relationships. And so to create this connection with the divine as well, we explore relationships. So just think of it that why we explore different relationships, because every relationship gives us something unique and a new facet of love. Think of love like a diamond, okay? And there are many facets to this diamond. And it's like, to feel that completeness of love, I need to have that experience and connection of all the facets of this diamond. And so to make this connection with the divine a very relevant and realistic connection, we explore various relationships that we can have with the divine. And so we look at, relating to the divine, firstly, as a mother. And this is really about experiencing unconditional love. just that love that totally accepts me. The Supreme is neither gender, neither male nor female. The Supreme is that source of energy that exudes such pure love. And that love which creates a feeling of me being deeply accepted and nurtures me, that's the experience of love. And love is a transformative power. It's like if you want to transform, you have to experience the unconditionality of love to really allow yourself to transform. We don't transform through harshness or through force. The opposite of love is force. And it's love that allows for transformation. And the first level of experience we need is that experience of unconditional love. And that is really that love that touches the heart and nurtures the heart. And that experience of love that nurtures the heart is what helps the soul to go beyond feelings of sorrow from the past. And it also helps the soul to feel secure and peaceful. And then the second aspect of love that we look at is that love of what we would define as the Father's love. But that's where I connect with the Supreme, with that feeling of being held in this pure energy that makes me feel safe. And that keeps encouraging me to sort of move forward and higher. And the experience of the connection with the Supreme as Father is also this awareness that as a child, I inherit from the Supreme. I'm actually able to draw those original qualities that I have. It's like an inheritance from the Supreme. So, we always relate to inheritance from the Father. So that's why it's that relationship with the Supreme that gives me that feeling of worthiness and right to inherit those original qualities. And then the third relationship that I want to talk about is that of a teacher. And here very much it's the teacher that it's like for us to shift perspective, we need knowledge. And that is where the wisdom of the Supreme Soul imparted to us helps us to create a wider and higher awareness. We spoke about elevated thinking in the first lesson, and that's the source to help us create elevated thought that's beyond the ordinariness of life and helps us to create a higher, wider perspective is when we source that level of thinking from the knowledge of the Supreme Soul. And so there are other relationships, the friend, to feel that unconditional love, the beloved, the one that I feel comforts me, understands me, the guide that helps to create that clarity of what truth is and what falsehood is, and that inspires that deeper level of purity within, and that of the child also to feel that feeling of playfulness and love and light with the Supreme Soul. So we begin to explore these different relationships with the Supreme Soul. And these relationships then becomes a means for us to bring that remembrance of the Supreme Soul in everything that I do. So if I'm cooking a meal, for example, yes, and now I'm cooking for my family, but I also think of it that, the divine is my child. So I cook with that awareness. And so it helps me to hold that remembrance of the divine while I'm engaged in this cooking. And that then begins to create a feeling of just bringing very lovely energy into what I'm doing. I'm not forcing anything, but I'm just expressing that love and gentleness into what I am doing. I remember someone who was a businessman, a consultant actually, and he said, I made the Supreme my partner. So in everything that I do and in the decisions I make, it's like I bounce off the Supreme in a sense, that the one who represents absolute love, absolute peace, absolute truth, absolute divinity in every way, I almost use the connection of the relationship to bounce off my thinking, to bounce off my perspective, to bounce off my decisions in every way. So in that way, the relationship with the divine is not something that's relegated to or left to 1 hour on a Sunday that I do my meditations or my prayers or whatever, but it's a living relationship, something that I bring into everything that I do and keep connecting with it on a day-to-day basis. So someone is asking, yeah, if one does not believe in the divine or God like myself, what do we do? Good question. If you don't believe in the divine or a God, well, can you at least work with the concept or idea of unconditional love? That can I relate to unconditional love, a source of unconditional love? And it doesn't have to be, often our, right, yes, like a mother, that's it. So connect with the idea of connecting with the source of unconditional love, so that that love informs you in everything that you are doing. That love begins to support you in everything that you are doing. Because body consciousness, when we thought of ourselves of body and started operating from body, it created an underlying fear in everything that we did. Fear of leaving my body, fear of failure, fear of being humiliated, fear of, being harmed in different ways. And that fear is what resulted in the sanskaras we created of anger, of possessiveness, of attachments, of greed, etc. And so to transform that energy, I have to connect with love. And so that's what that higher source represents. And so, yeah, if the word God trips you up, it's okay. Let go of that word. You don't have to use it, but just work with that idea of pure, unconditional love. Okay. And so that's how we begin to work with it. And so that it can slowly begin to allow us to transform. I'd like to use a little analogy here because I find the analogies helpful. One of the best analogies in biology is the analogy of metamorphosis. And, the example of metamorphosis is how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. Now, a caterpillar, when it's born and grows up, its whole purpose is just to eat, okay? So it gobbles up all the leaves that it can find. And it eats to such a point, it's like it's almost eating itself to death. But within the body of the caterpillar, there are certain cells that are called imaginal cells. And these cells create clusters in the body of the caterpillar. And when there's a certain percentage of these clusters that are created, then the gene in the caterpillar to become a butterfly is awakened. And that's when it begins to spin a cocoon around itself. And then the whole body of the caterpillar dissolves in that cocoon. And then as it's dissolved into nothing, to just like a gooey substance, then out of that, it begins to recreate itself. And then eventually it becomes a butterfly and then pushes itself out of that cocoon at the right time. And that's a bit like our own process of transformation. And that is that we are like these caterpillars, body consciousness. We're just eating and consuming of this old world through our senses and everything. And it's almost like the capacity to be something very angelic and divine lies within us, but we can't see that right now. All we're seeing is the outer form, the form of body consciousness. And so to allow for that innate self to re-emerge, we need to feel safe. And that's what the cocoon represents. Only when the caterpillar spins the cocoon around it does it feel safe. And in feeling safe, it then allows the melting process of the outer form to take place. So we need this experience of unconditional love. And to be in this cocoon of unconditional love, which isn't a physical thing, but it's a mental and emotional thing that we feel safe in this energy. And when I feel safe in this energy of unconditional love, that's when the ego begins to melt. The ego will not melt as long as it feels unsafe. It needs to feel safe, and only then will it melt. And so it's this unconditional love and this quiet internal reflection and silence that helps the outer form, the old sanskaras, to melt. And so then I can reconnect with that gene, that original awareness of who I am, that then I give it space to emerge, re-emerge, and then it can take flight. So recognizing that this is the process. The process of transformation needs the experience of love. Without love, it cannot happen. It needs silence, because in that quietness, I can then let go. Otherwise, when I make myself too busy and I keep engaging myself with external, then I'm actually resisting what I'm needing to allow to create that internal shift within. And so to know that that is what the process of meditation allows for and encourages. So I'd like us to go through a short meditation now, and then I want to take us through how we want to sustain the journey going forward. Okay. So let's have a short meditation.
I relax my body and settle into physical stillness. I notice that my breathing is slow and steady. I feel good that I have made this time for my meditation. I am creating a state of inner peace. I notice that my thinking has slowed down and come more sharply into my focus. I'm more aware of the wanderings of my mind. I keep refocusing my mind on my meditation. In this way, I prepare to meet with God. In a world that has moved its attention away from spirituality, my experience of God has faded. My experience of God has been colored by questions, doubts, confusions, fear, indifference. I want to strengthen my connection with you, renew my relationship with you, so that I can experience your love and draw your power into me. I remind myself that you and I are both souls, not bodies. In this way, we are the same, you and I. Beings of energy, subtle, spiritual entities. I play out my part through my body, and you never take a body of your own. You never live a human existence. I want to make myself ready for you, receptive to who you are and what you will share with me. To do that, I'm willing to let go of some old attitudes and beliefs. I know you are pure, so I put aside my cynicism and allow my own pure heart to come out of hiding. I know that you are the truth, so it will be pointless to try concealing my dark secrets from you, and I prepare to meet you with an honest heart. I know you are the most powerful being in the universe, so I forget my self-importance, grateful for your company. I know that you are love itself, nothing but love. So why should I fear you? I know your love is unconditional, and that I don't need to win your love. So I'm not going to make any promises just to try and prove to you how worthy I am. I know that you are complete in yourself and need nothing from me, so I am able to trust you. know that you are benevolent and unlimited, and that you willingly give me what I need. I know you love every soul, so my habit of feeling not good enough is a waste of my energy. I rest in the surety that I am worthy of your love and attention. I know that you communicate in many ways, and that my perception of you may come to me in pictures or symbols, words, sounds, or subtle feelings. It may feel like it's just my imagination, or my desire to be with you, not the real thing. That's okay. According to who I am, I will perceive your presence. I invite you to join me. In the stillness, and with open hearts, we are together. You know me better than I know myself. You know my deepest needs. With gratitude, I open myself to your wisdom and guidance. I think of all the things you may give me. Clarity, courage, power, comfort, peace, wisdom. I look. I listen. I sense your presence. And I receive all that you wish to give me.
So experiment. Experiment giving yourself that space for connection, and see how that begins to awaken something in you. And as you connect with that feeling of pure love, watch how that begins to shift perspective, feeling, but most importantly, that how that connection enhances capacity. It's like love is what is the catalyst for all the virtues within the soul. Because love is how I give expression. And so the purest expression of the soul is love, which comes through the various virtues. So connect and watch how that begins to unfold for yourself. Okay. So experimentation, it's not about believing in anything, but we're offering you a framework for experimentation, and see how that begins to create the shift for you, and how it begins to create new perspectives for you. Next thing, just we're looking at now how to sustain the experience and take the experience forward. One is, it's very important to bring in some practical practices in your lifestyle to support the practice. And so one of the things that we all encourage you, and I think that has been from day one, is start your day with a few minutes of meditation. And as I said, it's not so much the quantity of time, but really make sure that you make that your starting point each day. I like looking at it that the morning meditation is like setting my compass. And once my compass is set, then I'm clear for my day, and I can move into my day in that regard. The next thing is that look at your diet and your nutrition. And here again, we encourage people that, to eat naturally, because that is what then begins to support us in many ways. A healthy body, a healthy mind, and try and avoid foods. We recommend a vegetarian diet, but it doesn't mean if you're not a vegetarian, you can't meditate. You can meditate, but ultimately you begin to look at things and you begin to live a more natural, holistic life in that regard. So that's what we encourage you in a way. And the next thing is good company. So be aware of influence upon you. And good company is not just about other people, but it's also how we consume our time and influence ourselves by what we consume in terms of social media and things like that. So be selective in what you're absorbing and allowing yourself to get influenced by. So those are a few practical aspects to become aware of, and just begin to experiment with and integrate it, because that's what allows then what you're trying to create for yourself in meditation, then you are able to sustain that experience for yourself. It's like if I'm watching really violent movies, and then the next at night, and then the next morning I'm wanting to meditate, it's not going to work, because what's going to play out in my mind is all the violence that I saw and the emotions that it triggered. So be selective as to what you're influencing yourself by, because that's going to impact the quality of your meditative experience, but also how you're able to sustain what you learn and what you're developing in yourself throughout your day. So it's just something to be sensible about and practical. Now, today we have completed the introductory course, but I'm going to invite you all to ways to continue. we will be continuing going forward. We're going to do an online intermediate course. So it's the same ID and password as tonight. And like the last few lessons, Mondays and Thursdays, we're going to continue. So we're going to look at some more sort of more philosophy in some ways to begin to impact on. So the karma lesson, we've heard the word karma, but what does it mean? How does it impact? Time and destiny, powers of the soul, and the 4 pillars of Raja Yoga. So that's what we're going to look at going forward. So that will be for the next 2 weeks, Monday and Thursday, as this was. And then we have an evening Thursday talk online, and that's the ID and password. And at our observatory center, it's held both in person and online, but it's like just to continuing the lessons and some of the subjects that we've covered, to just go deeper into it. For example, last week we had the topic on spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence. So, it's just to go a little bit more in depth with some of the aspects that we cover in the course. So that too is something that you can practice. And then every third Sunday, we have an hour's meditation for world peace. And that again is both in person or an online, which you are welcome to join. Now, I think all of you had registered, so we probably have your email address. And so you will be, if you're not getting emails, then please put your email address in the chat tonight. And because we will be keeping you updated with regular things that we are happening. And in August, the first Saturday of August, we're going to have a special spirituality and women's empowerment program, since it's Women's Month. And so it will be a nice opportunity to come to the center and connect. And then we also have a beautiful festival called the Link of Love that we will be celebrating on the second Saturday in August, which we would like to extend an invitation to all of you as well. So it's just opportunities to connect and also to visit our center, because I think when you're in person, it will be a wonderful opportunity in that regard. Okay, so that's the basic course, and yes, we will continue with the intermediate and take it even further for all of us. I see there was a question from Gail: garlic and onion, what effect has it on the mind? Garlic and onion have a tendency of agitating the mind. So you would tend to find that it creates a little bit of a reaction in the mind. So it becomes more difficult to settle the mind in quietness and focus. And so therefore we recommend that you try and avoid it as far as you possibly can. So that's why, we will go into it later as well when we go into the intermediate course, but also beginning to understand that everything is at different levels of energy, and even different foods have different impacts on our bodies and on our minds and on how it supports our spiritual journey. So we will explore that even further. Okay. So that's it. So yeah, if any of you are not getting emails and you would like to be on the mailing list, put your address there and you can get it. Will these recorded sessions still be on your website after tonight? Yes, it would be. Yes, definitely. We'll keep it on our website. It's brahmakumaris.org.za, and it's under the Learn to Meditate submenu. So we will keep them all there. Each lesson has been recorded and will be kept there. Okay, great, everyone. So it's been lovely connecting with all of you, and I hope these lessons have been helpful and valuable to all of you. And stay connected, because this is just the beginning of the journey. There's a lot more to explore and learn and develop. So thank you and good night. Okay.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you. Bye.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you.